Someone was giving away this 19-inch Snapper snow thrower for free online, and they said it worked great. The only problem is that the plastic body of the snow thrower had broken, and there's no longer a sharp cutting edge here to pick up snow. When he tried to snow blow, a lot of the snow would just go through where this crack was, and it was kind of annoying to use. So I want to see if I can improve the design that was there, because what was there clearly wasn't strong enough. I have this scrap of 1/8 inch sheet steel that I got out of an old bus, and it's pretty rigid. So I think that might be a good material to try to replace the plastic on the snowblower with. I've already cut out lines as to where I think I'm going to cut. So this dimension is 19 inches and I need about 7 inches here. I'm going to try to bend this to imitate the curve here. And I also want to put on a few plates on the side here because there's been plastic that's broken off on both sides. And I think I'm going to weld that on. And I traced those into this sheet steel as well. Can't really see the markings, but what I basically did was just traced out where these circles on the ends are and moved them to here, and then made kind of an indentation with this compass. First thing I want to do is remove this auger because it'll be a lot easier to get to this plastic piece that way. So I need to take this assembly apart. So this needs to turn clockwise in order to take that pulley off. So I'm going to put a block of wood here, make sure this auger doesn't spin. Let's see what happens. Replacing this plastic part would cost more than the actual snowblower itself. So I'm going to try to save as much of the plastic as possible, but at least give it a nice cutting edge with metal. Might be good enough. I'll go a little more. In tight spaces you couldn't otherwise get to with a hacksaw or an angle grinder, metal or plastic cutting wheel on a Dremel tool is really helpful. In the plastic that I just cut out, there were holes for carriage bolts that I am now transferring to the piece of metal. One day I'll learn that standing in front of the camera makes for really bad video, but until then at least I have some good video for my tricep model audition tape. Because I'm using carriage bolts, I need a square hole in the piece of metal. There are more sophisticated ways to make square holes in metal, but because I just really want the carriage bolt not to spin, I'm trying to indent a square in the metal by just hammering the carriage bolt as hard as I can. I didn't end up using the 1/8 inch sheet metal for the sides of this metal piece as I had originally intended. It was just too hard to cut with the angle grinder. So I'm using some thinner stock and trying my best not to blow holes through it as I weld the two pieces together. On the side pieces that I just welded on, I cut a few holes so that I could stick some bolts through the sides and the metal pieces on the actual snowblower in order to hold everything in place. Before drilling those holes, I measured how far away from the actual body of the snowblower that was still remaining the cutting edge needed to be, at least from where it was before I cut the plastic off. So that way I know the metal piece that I'm putting on is the correct distance away from the augers. And now just putting everything back together. When I finished putting everything back together, the auger spun as it should have, but the snowblower itself was sitting kind of lopsided on the ground, so I needed to take a little bit more off of the bottom plate on one of the sides in order to get this thing to sit level. After trimming down the bottom on the left side, the snowblower was sitting level. Now I guess I just need some snow to test it on. Unfortunately, it's March, and so we may have just had our last snowfall.